Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Welcome to BC 101, which is common questions about learning the guitar that beginners usually ask. So in this quick little video clip I'm going to try and explain a couple of the questions that came up time and time again on the website and email and on the forum and stuff. Of course I'm only going to do a few questions that are really common because I probably don't know every question that you've got, but if you want to ask it, there's a link at the bottom of this page's website. So if you go and look up BC 101 on the justinguitar.com website, you'll see the video at the top, and then you'll see the questions as text, and I'll make sure I put any new questions up there. And then underneath that you're going to find a little question mark and with a direct link to the forum. So if you've got some other beginners questions that I haven't answered here, then please go and hit that link on the forum. It'll take you to a little place where you can leave your question, and then I might do a part 2 of this if I get enough questions. Either that or I'll just answer it in the text below this on the website. So really common questions. Let's get some out of the way and get them going. Most people really want to know, how long is it going to take me to learn to play guitar? Well, unfortunately, how long's a piece of string? It's different for everybody. There's not really one kind of set time frame for people. I generally find that within 6 months most people can kind of play some tunes. I tend to think of it in terms of hours of practice, so it tends to be about 5 hours of practice, and then people can usually play some songs. And I don't mean like 5 hours all on one day, right? That isn't going to work. I'm talking about doing, say, 15 minutes a day, 4 times a week or 5 times a week for 4 or 5 weeks, that kind of thing. And you should be able to kind of play some tunes. You might be still struggling with your strumming and stuff. It really is different for different people though, unfortunately. There is such a thing as natural aptitude, and some people do pick it up a little bit quicker. But generally it's about how much time you actually spend practicing. Depends on how fast you get kind of good. The other differential there is kids, children under 16 or 18 or whatever, tend to learn 2 or 3 to 10 times faster than adults. So if you're 50 and you're learning guitar for the first time, it's going to take you a lot longer than if you're 15. That's just the truth. I don't know exactly why that is. You'd think that older people would learn stuff faster, but they don't. I don't know why that is. Young kids just totally lick it. Next question. How often do you need to practice? Well, what I would recommend is that you try and practice 4 to 5 times a week for about 15 minutes. That's the kind of what I reckon is the optimal amount for a beginner guitar player. If you practice too much more than that, you're going to get your hand to kind of get sore, and you're risking burning yourself out a bit. So in the early stages, you're better off not going over the top and practicing loads, but just trying to get a nice regular amount of practice in. 15, 20 minutes, maybe, you know, a bit more if you're really digging it, whatever. That kind of amount is the amount I think you should be practicing. It's a lot better to practice a little bit every day than to try and hit it all in one go. So if you're doing, say, 15 minutes a day, 4 times during the week, that's going to be loads better than trying to not do any all week and then do 2 hours practice on a Saturday, right? So I know a lot of people have work commitments and stuff and school or whatever, but if you can try and find a little bit of like 10-15 minutes practice every day, that will be wicked. That's a great amount, and then you can start to up the amount that you practice as you get into it more and more. It's also a good idea if you have trouble finding practice, or time to practice rather, then it's a good idea to try and do it at a set time. So like every day after you get home from school, or after you get back from work, or in the morning. A lot of my students have practiced in the mornings before they go to work. You know, it's up to you, but if you struggle, then it can be a good idea to try and find the same time every day to have a little bit of a practice session. Okay, another really common question. My fingers really hurt, should I stop? Yeah, if your fingers really hurt, then you should stop. Everybody, including me, still, after having played guitar for, I don't know how long it is now, 25 years or something, I still get lines in my fingers, and sometimes I play so much that it hurts. So when you start off, remember that you're putting your nice kind of fleshy soft skin down on thin pieces of metal, and you're pressing them down really hard. It's going to hurt, right? So it just takes a little bit of time for the skin to kind of callus up a little bit and get a bit tougher. So yeah, don't be that bothered if your fingers hurt. If it's really hurting, like, stop, take a break. I'm not saying that you should kind of push yourself through so the guitar becomes some kind of torture thing, you know. But if it gets a bit sore, just, you know, deal with it, keep going, it'll be fine. You're not going to do yourself any damage. But yeah, if ever something hurts, like painful, then stop and take a break. If it's just a bit sore, that's usually what I think, you know, it's okay to keep going. Okay, another really common question from the beginner's course last time was, you know, I want to learn rock guitar, what do I have to learn all these open chords for? Or I only want to play jazz guitar, I don't want to learn rock power chords. Now, in the course of my beginner's course, you're going to learn a whole heap of different techniques: open chords, strumming, power chords with fingerstyle, and probably you're not going to want to do all of those different things in your general guitar playing career, but they all help each other a whole lot. For example, power chords. If you want to play jazz, right, but you don't really want to learn rock power chords, but what you might not realize at that early beginner stages is that the formation of that power chord is really kind of preparing your hand to play bar chords. So it's really important that you do that. You know, if you're looking at open chords because you want to play metal and you want to play power chords, I mean, loads of metal songs have open chords in it as well. So what I'm trying to show you in this beginner's course is all of the basic kind of foundation skills that you need to play guitar. After you finish that, you can start you know, choosing this bit, or I want to do that, or I want to look more at this thing, or whatever you like. But I'd really recommend that to start off with, you have a good go at doing that the course all the way through, and make sure that you can master all of that stuff. I think that'll be a really good plan. Another question, why isn't there very much rhythm guitar at the first part of the course? Well, this is a really good question. This is one of the kind of the slightly different things, I guess, about the way I teach guitar. And rhythm is really a really important part of playing guitar, and it's really important that the rhythm is consistent. If you watch people strumming, usually you'll find that their hand moves kind of continuously. So you'd have my hand's kind of moving that same way all the time, and I can then get a kind of a pattern going, a strumming pattern or a rhythm pattern, which is kind of what makes rhythm guitar work. If in the early stages you're struggling to change between your chords, which is very likely, in fact it's almost certain that everyone who does this is going to struggle, but if you're learning guitar for the first time you're going to struggle changing chords, you'd train yourself to stop strumming. So you might go like, stop, change your chord, there we go, and then, and I think this is the worst thing that you can possibly do, because you're training your rhythm hand that it's okay to stop, and it isn't okay to stop for your rhythm hand. Your rhythm hand has to learn to become completely independent. So what I try and do is introduce you to the chords first, then a bit of the chord changes, speeding up your chord changes and really working on that kind of thing. And then once you got to the point where you can do your chord changes fast enough, then we introduce the strumming. So it's just a slightly different way that I teach it, and I think it really works, and I've seen people really improve on their rhythm guitar because they're not having to stop and muck around with the chords. So I do recommend this as being a good way around. Okay, lastly, if you got any questions through this, please don't email me. I get too many emails and I just can't answer them. But I've got a forum which I go to regularly and I answer questions on. So, and especially in this early part of the release of the beginner's course, I'm going to be in the forum a whole lot, taking questions, helping you guys out doing the course. So please check the link at the bottom of BC 101, which will link you directly to this particular lessons forum page. Have a look around the forum. There's loads of people there to help, and I'll be there to help as well. So go and check it out. There's loads of places to get help. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this beginner's course because it's loads of fun. So I think that's all we got time for in this lesson, so I'll see you for another one sometime soon. Later, bye bye.